Hey everybody, Rob Maurer here, and today we've got some news on Tesla's advertising efforts. We've also got a couple of analyst updates, some news on Tesla Energy, and a few other items as well. Pretty nice day for the stock today. Tesla up 1.5%, closing at $263.62, while the Nasdaq was up 0.6% on the day. As a reminder, just a quick look at the calendar. Tomorrow we will get the PPI or Producer Price Index report before market open. That'll follow on Thursday with the CPI report. Those will both be very interesting as we're actually only 3 weeks away from the next FOMC meeting already. We did get a couple of revised price targets from analysts today, as analysts have started to update their models after the production and delivery report ahead of Q3 earnings next week. I don't have the note, but UBS dropped their price target from $290 before now to $266, and Jefferies also dropped their price target from $265 down to $250. They still have a hold rating on the stock. In their note, they said that, quote, "We continue to think that everything Tesla does differently from the rest of the industry can also be done by others if given time, making speed essential to maintain an edge. The latter seems to have been eroding from product features." End quote. So obviously that's framed pretty negatively. It's not really all that different than what Elon has said in the past, though, that pace of innovation is really what matters. And if product features is your proxy for that, then I suppose it's reasonable to say that, sure, maybe we're in a little bit of a lull there, but I don't really think that's a good way to look at it. I mean, you could look at the specs of a vehicle for Rivian, you could look at the specs of a vehicle for Tesla and say, oh, they're in the same ballpark, but you got to also look at profitability, which immediately throws that comparison out the window. And you would think for an analyst that would be top of mind rather than surface level analysis of product features. But even there, we're on the threshold of exciting things with Project Highland, with Cybertruck, with Semi, with FSD Beta 12. Still plenty of things to be excited about, but these things do happen in waves. This is no different than Tesla's history, where you go from Model S to Model X to Model 3. All those periods take a long time when you sit there and watch it day by day, but when you look at a decade of progress, well, it happens relatively quickly. We've already seen numerous signs of the EV pressure that other automakers are under right now. With Tesla, the direction couldn't be clearer. With a lot of other automakers, it's really up in the air right now. So day to day, those things can be tough to really appreciate, but they should not be brushed aside in favor of quote-unquote product features. So I guess we'll be appreciative of Jefferies reminding us of that in a roundabout way. All right, next we seem to have an update on Tesla's advertising efforts. Of course, so far we have talked about a few Google AdWords ads that Tesla has selectively placed. That seems to have pretty much been the extent of it so far. But we now have a new video from Omar0717 on X that shows a video of what seems to be a Tesla advertisement playing at the Tokyo International Airport on what looks to be about 7 or 8 big screens in the terminal. The videos show off some of Tesla's features like autopilot, supercharging, etc. There are QR codes that can be scanned that presumably take you to Tesla's website to learn more about it. I don't think I see anything on pricing, and it may mention something about the Model Y being a best-selling car. So unlike some of the other things that we have seen that kind of looked like advertising, but maybe Tesla didn't actually set up, this one does seem like it would have to have been led by the company. No way to really know for sure, but it does appear that way. Probably not what a lot of the suggestors of advertising had in mind initially, but it is interesting to see how Tesla is kind of taking these baby steps into it and testing out some presumably pretty low-cost ways of advertising, which hopefully gives them some pretty good insight on the ROI of these efforts before potentially expanding and increasing budget. We'll continue to keep an eye out for any more of those, and if you happen to be in the Tokyo International Airport, if you can take a look at that and see if you can spot these, if for no other reason than to see how long Tesla keeps these running. And obviously they're digital, could be a cycling thing with other advertisers also using that space. All right, next we've got an update on Tesla Energy from the Tesla Megapack account on X. They've shared a video that the 150 megawatt or 300 megawatt hour Edify Energy Tesla Megapack has been activated and now fully operational in Riverina and Darlington Point in Australia. The video also points out that this is the largest approved grid-forming battery in Australia's national electricity market, which relies on a Megapack feature called Tesla's Virtual Machine Mode, which we've talked about before. Virtual Machine Mode virtually emulates the physical or mechanical inertia that is present in traditional power sources for the grid, due to the reliance on heavy rotating equipment that tends to stay rotating for a period of time. If you replace a power source like that with something like a battery, you lose that inertia, so Virtual Machine Mode emulates that, which helps improve grid stability, as Tesla is noting here. So always nice to see these updates, and although this news is in Q4, we'll definitely look forward to the Q3 energy numbers in the earnings report next week. Another really quick piece of energy storage news, the Netherlands government has recently allocated just over 400 million euros for the installation of batteries to be paired with solar projects. So I'm sure some of that funding, although unclear how much, will probably end up going towards Tesla products. All right, next we've got a report from The Information, which has at times provided some spotty information regarding Tesla, but this is a fairly basic report, it would seem. They are reporting that, quote, at Tesla's headquarters in Austin, Texas, a new bunker-like structure is under construction that could one day help move the company beyond electric vehicle manufacturing. When it's completed, the building will house part of a new supercomputer known as Dojo that Tesla is assembling to help run the artificial intelligence software behind the self-driving capabilities in its vehicles, according to two people familiar with the project, end quote. So I guess probably not too surprising that Tesla would want to have at least part of the physical hardware of Dojo there in Texas. It's probably a little bit cheaper to operate there, plus just having it on site, I would imagine that there are some benefits to that. The rest of the article is paywalled, so I'm not sure if there are any other interesting details within this report, but we'll keep an eye out for updates. I wouldn't be too surprised if Joe Tegmeyer hadn't already been all over this anyway. All right, next we've just got a quick update on the IG Metal report we talked about relating to Giga Berlin yesterday. Tesla has now more formally responded. They've rejected claims by the union and that have been made in the media, which have suggested that health and safety provisions at the factory were not adequate. Obviously, this is a topic that we've got a decent amount of data from on Tesla from the impact reports, something we hear from them pretty consistently on. But in a written statement, they said that workers received training on necessary safety measures as well as protective clothing, and that the factory is subject to checks from local authorities to make sure that safety measures are being followed. So no surprises there. I don't know how impactful a press release like this really is, but I know sometimes people wish for a little bit more proactive PR from Tesla, and this would be a case of one of those types of things. Next, we've got updated China insured vehicle numbers for the week of October 2nd through October 8th. This week, the number did drop to just 1,000, so quite a low number, but obviously this is the first week of the quarter. And for October, this is Golden Week in China, so like we had talked about last year at this time, that's going to affect things as well. Last year in the first week, there was only 2,000 vehicles insured, so nothing surprising here, especially as we continue to wait for Highland deliveries to begin. Next, we've got another V4 Supercharger update from supercharge.info on X. They've noticed yet another V4 project in the US. This one is in Alabama, so looks like we're now seeing a number of these in the US. We'll continue to keep an eye on it, but exciting to see that expansion happening. Another quick one for today. For some reason, there's been a photo going around of an old Cybertruck that had been photoshopped matte black or black back in April, resurfacing to a wide extent today. So just a reminder, that is an old photo and it is Photoshop, so nothing new there with the Cybertruck showing up as black. All right, and then the last few items, we've got a couple other automaker updates. The first is from Unifor, the Canadian Auto Workers Union. We talked before about how they had reached an agreement with Ford a few weeks ago. They have now, after just a very short 12-hour strike with GM, reached a similar agreement with GM. So two of the big three in Canada, although this is still pending finalization. And then we'll wait to see, of course, what happens with Unifor and Stellantis in Canada. And then just a couple of quick ones from last week. Toyota and LG have announced that they have reached a battery supply agreement for lithium-ion batteries to be used in Toyota BEVs in the United States, with the LG batteries being assembled in the US. Apparently this contract will begin in 2025 at an annual capacity of 20 gigawatt hours. Interestingly, they do say these will be nickel-based packs, but pouch-type cells, rather than cylindrical like we would see Tesla use for that chemistry. And then finally, Renault has announced an investor day for their future EV company named Ampere on November 15th. They have previously said that they do plan to spin this out, separately list this company on the stock exchange sometime in early 2024 at maybe somewhere around a $10 billion valuation. So we'll keep an eye on that for next month, but that'll wrap it up for today. As always, thank you for listening. Make sure you're subscribed and signed up for notifications. You can also find me on X at Tesla Podcast, and we'll see you tomorrow for the Wednesday, October 11th episode of Tesla Daily. Thank you.